Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Miller, what were some of the red flags that were overlooked in regard to this? I mean, this stuff is pretty blatant. What was there that people didn't pick up that they should have picked up?
Well, almost everything, Senator. When you have a select number of individuals invited to a party where food is paid for by the taxpayer, somebody somewhere some red flag should have popped up and said, oops, this isn't right. That didn't happen. And we had some of our highest ranking officials attend these networking parties and private receptions in these rooms.
And so was that budgeted, or were there receipts, or
yeah,
were those
we
things
went
falsified, or?
We went through all the receipts. It was billed to the federal government, and it took a long time to find because some of the bills are on purchase cards, credit cards. Some of the bills are in the budget for the conference. Some of the bills came out of the operating fund for the public buildings. And they were all over the place. And I commend our forensic auditors and special agents and auditors for finding these.
So within the agency, who's responsible for saying, there's something amiss here?
Dan, do you want to take that?
I think actually that's part of the problem. And I think that was part of our concern, was that we didn't have a strong centralized financial management organization that could see these things beginning to start coming through the system and start raising questions. It was all held within the region, and that region was being led by this individual who is the main leader of this activity. So that we identify very quickly as an issue coming out of the Inspector General's report. We've taken immediate action to begin to change that structure. But we think that that's just the beginning, and why we need to take a good look, top to bottom, the way we structure and organize and operate this agency.
Right. And Senator, somebody was approving the travel vouchers for those people traveling to this conference. So there's responsibility all throughout GSA.
I guess and I don't mean to interrupt, but as you've unturned these stones, are you finding more, is this an individual thing, or is this the culture of GSA?
We're finding a lot of things, and as the
But
chairman,
is it more a cultural thing where this has been going on so long that it's just the business as usual, or? As
an Inspector General, I am reluctant to make generalizations without having facts to support them. I will say that when we uncovered things, we disclosed them. I gave the administrator an interim report because we had investigations, and it got so bad that we thought we have to tell the administrators so that they can stop this abuse. Mm-hmm. And normally we don't do that when we're investigating, but we put together this interim report, and I briefed the administrator in May of 2011 about the abuse. We also had another problem with the employee reward store, the Hats Off store. We gave her a draft of that too. And so we gave the managers information so that they could stop this. I don't know what actions were taken. I'll let the administrator talk about that. But we were trying to get people to stop this. Sure. And then in August, there was a new regional administrator sworn in Region 9. I personally met with her, went through the interim report with her, and asked her to get a handle on the regional commissioner's travel. I even suggested perhaps she can have her CFO take a look at past trips. And then we're faced with a 3-week trip of the regional commissioner to Saipan. And we went to the deputy administrator, Susan Britta, and said, what's going on? Do you know that he's about to take another trip? And she contacted the regional administrator, and the result was he went on the trip.
So that is kind of cultural.
I'll let you draw the generalization.
Yeah, exactly. The GSA evidently is a very troubled agency, and I would, do you know what the, perhaps some of the better agencies, our leadership who's been here a while, mentioned, that we have these recurrent things going on at GSA. What are some of the agencies, what can we model what can we use as a model within government to try and model this after so that we don't have this in the future? Some of the agencies that seem to function without these problems. Is there one that comes to your?
Well, I would say, I just want to, if you don't mind, add quickly to the IG's, Mr. Miller's comments about culture, and say that at the same time, I've received dozens and dozens of emails from GSA employees who is outraged and horrified and disappointed and disgusted, and frankly, even some level more, because they have associated their public service careers with this organization. And they're now embarrassed about being GSA employees. And they are committed. The emails I get from people, they're committed to redoubling their efforts to do what the GSA is set up to do, which is save taxpayers' money, which makes these events even more unconscionable. Now, what are the good agencies out there? I really think that the administration has done a very good job of moving forward on a number of systems, accountability systems, performance accountability systems, that we really need to look at other agencies, how they set things up so that they have a continual quarterly accountability review of the actual performance and expenditures of their component parts. And I think there are a lot of lessons we can learn from that.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.